Hope you're ready. It's time for Decentralize Now.
Ask this question, kind of shifted to do something here. What are your thoughts about, this is another kind of libertarian thought experiment, should someone be able to be consensually eaten?
Consensually eaten?
Right. Should someone be... It's a libertarian thought experiment. This is a real thing. People debate this issue. I thought you would have seen this in our circles. Yeah, like,
no,
should someone be consensually eaten by another person?
I mean, if some... Wow, I have no words.
Free the people, free the markets. Decentralize Now. Season 2.
I'm not even thinking about like the guy that's like, yeah, that's cool if you eat me. I'm like, who's the fucking sick motherfucker that's like, I want to eat you? Jesus Christ.
It's not murder because it's consensual. You know, if someone's like,
well,
I will write down, you can eat me, and then things are fine. And I've heard some people use that to make fun of libertarians. They'll be like,
we're on the
what,
FBI
do you
watch
think people
list now.
should be able to be consensually eaten? But I'm like, if you want to be consensually eaten, hey, this is kind of where I become a social Darwinist, but like, you're probably kind of screwed up, man. So if this is what makes you happy, go for it. Go lay down on a dinner plate.
But me, in my consensual thought, I would not want to be eaten. I'd rather be eaten in a different manner. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
So when does a consensual agreement to be cannibalized become legal?
Well, actually, I'm studying this in a course I'm taking. So you can't have just an oral arrangement. It has to be written down.
An oral arrangement to be eaten? That's great.
It's got to be written down on paper that I, George Jeffries, consent to be eaten by William Peterson on September 5th.
There should be a fucking video of consent for that. But okay, written seems a little...
A video. So you're thinking of being eaten. Hi, I'm Chemtrail, and I'm going to walk you through the legal minefield of consensual dining.
Excuse me, a man with half of your fucking organs eaten? Did you write this? Well, he's not saying no.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm just being funny.
So,
I mean, I guess to some degree. I don't. It doesn't affect me. I don't. It doesn't. I don't.
That's
I
the
can't believe we're
libertarian
having this
view,
conversation, but I guess I don't have a problem
right?
with it. You know?
Well, that's the thing. Like,
if that's
weird.
what you want to do, but that's not what I want to do.
I don't want someone to eat me, but if you want to be eaten,
that's what you want to do.
So don't sign the
it.
paper. What if they hid that in, like, when you signed up for a new credit card, that was like some of the weird fine print
for Verizon Wireless? You should have read the fine print.
You have the right to eat you.
Well, it's 2023. Time to pay up. Give me that left leg. What?
Right? Now things literally cost an arm and a leg.
Oh shit.
Well done.
Yeah.
What kind of crazy things will our heroes talk about next? Stay tuned to find out.
Thanks again, Everett, for coming on the podcast and taking some time. We've been having a lot of people who are running for office come on the podcast, and that we're really humbled to have that. We like to give you guys a platform. So thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Well, thanks for creating a platform and having me on it.
Yeah, no problem. So I guess I'll just start. I've got a couple questions here, but I'll start really with giving you the chance to introduce yourself. So, your name's Evret Greer. Who is Evret Greer, and what is it that you're doing?
I was born into military, now 34 years old, and I've been around the country. I've seen a lot of places and met a lot of faces. And I've just seen what's going on in our country and the things that everybody is facing. And in my current life today, I'm, looking at all the things that I'm affected by and realizing that everybody else is affected the same way. And so, as a candidate and having these political conversations that I'm having, that I'm carrying out with a lot of people, um, I'm talking about relieving a lot of those stressors, a lot of those things that are affecting us, that if we had more control over it ourselves, then we could do better than what's being done. And I'm basically a nobody, and I've been told to embrace that, and I'm going to, because I'm not backed by any big corporation. I'm not backed by big pharma. I don't have any lobbyists coming at me right now. So my campaign manager and I are working on different details as far as the website is concerned, and actually getting the collateral together, like the business cards and door hangers and stuff. So in doing all of this work, it's with the determination of giving a different perspective, giving, not just a third party, but a completely different perspective. And that's why my website and my actual campaign logo, the American Vision, because it's 2020. And what do glasses do? They correct our vision to 2020. And not just a focal point of vision, it's a full area of vision that gets corrected. And I wear glasses. My name has easy glasses. All you got to do is put in the arms and the nose piece, and you got freaking glasses. So it was rather easy to come up with that design and how it all came together. But I've been having these inclinations and these conversations for at least 5 years. Ever since I saw what was going on in 2016, these candidates aren't any better. And everybody's going, well, who do you vote for when it's evil versus evil? I was like, how about you vote for the one that's not evil?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty simple. And that's really what I'm striving to be, because I'm not evil. I don't have a criminal background. The only thing that is wrong with my background is my finance. And I'm open and honest about it. You can look at my tax returns. Nobody wants to be me.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let me ask you this, and this is gonna be a hard question. I'm not gonna go easy on you. I want to ask some
No,
questions here, and this is gonna basically see where you are on the libertarian spectrum. So this is gonna basically be like a little test here. So you're a libertarian, and we've met before. You're a libertarian. You believe in libertarianism. Essentially, you believe that the individual owns themselves, that your life, your body, your property, that's yours, and no one else has a claim to that but you. So let me start there. Would that be a statement that you agree with? Is that right?
I do definitely agree with that.
Now, here's my thing. The age of consent, when does that begin? So when does that begin for someone? So when does someone, is it 18 years old? Is it 16 years old? Is it when does someone begin to be able to make those decisions for themselves, and why?
I would have to say that in different situations, there seems to be a call for that. But if, I don't know, if there's a boy or girl at 15 years old that they understand what their emotions are and what their feelings are towards another person, like how can we be so harmful to our natural being to diminish that and to not let that be explored? Because there are so many things that even in our own brain that don't get explored, because everybody's like, oh no, you can't do that. So when you're at a certain level where you have an understanding of what it is that you are doing, I think that's the age of consent for that situation. Now, for example, at 10 years old, obviously the obvious question on everybody's mind is sexual age of consent. So at 10 years old, you don't know what sex is, but you know that you want to live with mom or dad, so those kinds of cases need to be looked at. They see what is going on, they make a cognitive decision on what they understand, and they know that they want to be in one household or another. But when it comes to sexual attractions, sexual interactions, there definitely needs to be a healthy education for that, and I think that's where parent involvement has kind of failed things a little bit, and they've relied on the public school system and the government to educate their children and so on.
So you win. Let's go in the scenario that you win. Okay, so Evret Greer gets to the White House. What are going to be some of the first things that you do? What are the first big ticket items? What does that look like? What does an Evret Greer presidency look like?
Well, it would look like less taxes on your paycheck. It would look like less government impediments as far as individual prosperity rather, and just making sure that our income, because I've had to do this personally, making sure that what we bring in is spent on the necessary things. And being all over the country the way that we are, as far as military wise, that needs to be cut back. Now, it can be replaced with, some different humanitarian efforts, but that's up to the private sector. That doesn't need to be a government solution. Okay, so those bases can be used for different things in different scenarios.
Yeah, it seems like it makes sense.
Now that they're there,
we're obviously fans of that here. I mean, we're all about decentralization, the free market taking things over. I wanted to toss this and get these thoughts out from the both of you here, because something just happened regarding texting and driving. Busted, where you live, we're not going to dox you, obviously, but where you live, what are the laws like concerning texting and driving?
Here in China, where I live, they actually cut your hands off if they catch you texting and driving.
Damn.
It's pretty vicious. My dog accidentally got my cell phone one day in his mouth. He only has 3 legs now.
Oh shit!
Oh my goodness.
No,
over here where I live, they just passed a new law. And do you mind if I actually pulled it up here on my phone? Do you mind if I go over some of the new details of this great new law to keep us safe?
Well, I just want to say before you read it
Sure.
that I'm totally, thank God the government's here to keep us fucking safe, man. Because I know that if I didn't have someone constantly telling me not to stick my dick in electrical sockets and try and,
who knows?
Play, dodge traffic, that I would definitely, do those things because I'm an idiot and I don't control my own life.
For sure.
It's bullshit, and it's just a way to pull you over and see what you're doing and search your fucking car. It's just another way that it's just another fucking. It's just all part of the fucking police state, I guess, man.
Yeah.
This is what it says, and you're exactly right. Like, you hit it on the head, and I think you're going to appreciate the way this new law that just went into effect is worded. Maine has enacted several laws. Actually, it just says several law. It's actually laws, so this government website apparently can't fucking speak English. Maine has enacted several law relating to distracted driving. Maine Motor Vehicle Statutes, Title 29A S2116, says this. A person who has not attained 18 years of age may not operate a motor vehicle while using a mobile telephone or handheld electronic device. This means that an operator of a motor vehicle that is over the age of 18 cannot manipulate, talk into, or interact with a mobile telephone or handheld electronic device. You can't interact with it. Like, if you're touching it, it's not just you're on the phone. If it's you're interacting with it in any way. Fines range first from $50 to $250 and subsequently the loss of a license. Maine has 2 other distracting driving laws which can be found here, and there's several other ones. So you hit it on the head, because that it's so vague. Interacting, like, what's to keep a cop from going, oh, I want to pull him over? Yeah, Your Honor, I saw him interacting with a cell phone, and then that just opens Pandora's box for them to fuck with you for any variety of reasons.
There's there's already traffic laws where they can do that. I mean, do you know how easy it is? You didn't stop for a full 3 seconds at a stop sign. They can pull you over for that shit, man. I mean, they're gonna nickel and dime you any way they can. If they want to pull you over, chances are you're getting.
Why don't they pull people
over
for friggin' not using their blinker? Or, you know, I'm a flagger, and I see people on their cell phones all day long, even still.
No, you're a flagger and you're running for president. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you're out there and you're flagging, can you wave like another flag, like an American flag as well?
No.
So you couldn't be there standing on the side of the road with the flag for construction, but also be waving like, hey, American flag or something else for like the campaign.
No, because I am representing a business, and as an employee, they don't, you know, support one way or the other. So you can't be political in any way.
I mean, it would be. It's a good idea, though. I mean, think of that. Like you turn the sign and it says like, "Stop, think about your future. Check out my website." You know,
that'd be bad. Well, you think about the amount of people that drive by. I mean, that's why a lot of these groups do these banner drops along I-95. You know, from any part of the political spectrum, that a lot of people look at that. You're driving to work, and there's nothing but trees or nothing but whatever your normal commute. That's why a lot of people will do like the banner drops and things like that.
You know what I could do?
What's that?
I could do is get one yard sign and take it with me, and wherever I'm stationed up at, I put a yard sign out there.
That's ingenious, yeah, because you can put them up anywhere you go. Exactly,
And
I love it. I think it's
my
a great idea.
My day is done. Everybody saw it for the 10 hours that I was there, and now I put it in my car, and all right, I'm in Mechanic Falls tomorrow, so wherever I end up being, go put that yard sign out there, and they're stopping next to me.
That's the trickle that starts it. And you know, you've got them parked there, so you know they're reading the sign and stuff. So that's actually
they're
a good
looking
idea.
around.
Did you put that sign there? It was there when I got here.
Prove it was there when I got here. Yeah. Who's that Greer guy? Oh, you know, I can talk about myself.
Hear great things.
They have no idea. They have no idea.
Can you give us like a good flagging story? Like what's something that someone's done to you that's been crazy, or is it all just pretty humdrum?
Oh my God! I'll just talk about my day today.
Sure.
I had one bumper to bumper, or one rear end accident. I sent my traffic, and I'm like 4 or 5 cars go by, and I'm watching back and forth, making sure that everybody's going okay, that they're staying in the right lanes. And this all happens in a matter of seconds. 5th car goes by. I look back, and I hear this crunch as I'm looking back, and just this Ford Escape come rolling towards me. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I had an important meeting with my campaign manager tonight that had to be rescheduled because I was later than expected at work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a little PO'd at that, and wasn't like personally really as focused as I could have been.
Sure.
Or that I usually am with my job. And so I was just sending traffic, and next thing I know, this white car comes within inches of me. Everybody else is going to the other lane because that's how the taper was set up, was to go into the left lane. And it's like, why weren't you scooting over with everybody else? Why are you way over here on the shoulder of the road? I'm not even in the middle of the road.
Was it a teenager under 18 with a cell phone?
I would say that he was millennial. I did not see a cell phone at that moment.
That's vague, that term millennial. I'm so sick of that term millennial. It's bullshit.
Well,
I mean, you said you were 34, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all millennials here then. Okay, think about that.
So then, what happened to Generation X? Because Generation X was something that existed before millennials came along.
Yeah, so you're 34, so you're kind of like proto millennial. Like you're like the tail end of X. I don't know if you're really a millennial. You're kind of a millennial. Like even Busted and I, like we're millennials, but we still like we're early millennials. You're probably like you can. What do you think? Do you identify?
No, I identify as Gen X. Like I do not feel that I am a millennial in any way. Like
I say I'm not a millennial, and I don't have the same views, and I don't get the fucking abbreviations and smiley face fucking texting and shit like that. Like I don't fucking get that shit. But like my cell phone is always in my motherfucking pocket or hand. Like I mean, I'll give you that. I don't know if that. Well, I mean, I guess that's a bullshit argument, but I mean,
that's just the way that today is. You know, everybody has their communication devices. Like that's the normal now.
I work with guys in their 50s that do the same thing. It just takes them longer to text, you know.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
I think grandmas, 70-year-olds, messing with their Bluetooth and with their phone and this, that, and the other.
Alexa, like, can you add milk to the shopping list?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, like, should you even be driving right now?
You shouldn't be driving. Like, period.
Can you imagine getting it? Can you imagine getting an Alexa for like a woman with like dementia? That's such a mean thing to do.
She'd forget.
There's an invisible lady in my house that brings things to my home in boxes. You're listening to Decentralize Now with special guest Evret Greer.
In terms of the texting while driving thing, I've gotten into a lot of fights on Facebook about it, and people are like, "You idiot! This keeps us safe." People are still going to do this. This is nearly impossible to enforce. Huh?
Who the fuck said that to you?
Oh, no, I'll pull up the Facebook thread right now.
I want to send me a link to that. I want to fucking see that shit. Did someone really say that shit?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I'll tag you in it right now.
Soccer mom, fucking, I got 3 kids and think about my feelings. I fucking knew it,
You guessed it. It was, her name is Kathy Pompeo. And I don't mean to dox you, Kathy, but you pissed me off and you used it on the internet, so that's what happens. So yeah, I'm adding you right now to the discussion. So it's all these people like, "You idiot, need to keep our roads safe." The
roads that are full of holes.
Yeah, exactly. I can literally watch YouTube videos while I'm driving and not get in an accident. I've been doing it for years. I don't just stare at it, obviously. I keep my eyes on the road, but I can go down, up and down, and I'm fucking fine. I think a lot of this is just really bad drivers casting their projections onto really good drivers, but it's an impossible law to enforce unless they put a camera in your car to make sure that you're not interacting with the cell phone, because it's not just being on the phone. You can't interact with it in any way, shape, or form. There's no way they can know that. There's no way they can police that.
Hey,
and all this
I still see that happening because of the Bluetooth.
What's that?
You know, I have my phone plugged in through an auxiliary cord, so I'm able to use my car as my speaker and have my phone in my lap. They can't see that I'm interacting, but they can see that I'm talking.
Well, can I go to like a weird extreme with this, or do you want to keep talking about it, or can I kind of go fucking crazy with it?
But I guess the last thing I want to say is that there's no way for them to enforce it, and it's just another excuse for them to pull people over. And I'll also say this. Right now in this state where this law is passed, they're raising taxes. Right. Our governor, the surplus that came from the past 8 years, it was gone. It's gone. It's already spent. So when a state goes bullshit fucking crazy like our state, they have to get more revenue. So there's going to be an increase of laws and an increase of regulation in order to take more revenue from people. And that's, I think, where this comes from. So if you increase the need for municipal revenue, they're going to increase not only just taxes, but they're just going to make new fucking laws. You know what I mean? And I see there's a very real correlation between those two things, and I'm fucking pissed about it. And how much can we take? These people want to regulate everything. It was just a few.
I have a point.
Go ahead.
I have a point to make on that, but I do want to hear what Busted had to say.
Sure.
He wanted to go off on.
I was just gonna say, dude, we've talked about that before, man. We've talked about that before. It's just an ongoing fucking rights grab. I don't really know a better way to put it. Like, it's just like, let's just take all the rights away as quick as we can. And they hide them in these bills that have nothing to fucking do with what they're actually doing. Like, they'll go in these fucking states and they'll implement these red flag laws, you know, and I'm being extreme, but they'll bury it in some sort of like, we got to save the beavers campaign, you know? Like, they hide it in environmental fucking shit. They're not honest about it. They come in and they rip our rights away with these bills that have nothing to do with the rights they're actually fucking taking away. And that's exactly what it is. It's just a way to fucking pull you over, fuck with you, mess with you. And when that doesn't work anymore, well, they just make more fucking laws where they can fucking take more rights fucking away from you. And they trick these people into saying, oh, well, we need to silence these people. They're saying hateful things. Okay, so you silence the Nazis. Okay, so you take the fucking AR-15s. What next? What happens when you take all the people's rights you don't agree with away, and then their rights are gone? They're going to come after you, and you're going to lose yours too. And it's scary, and it's like we live in a fucking world where people don't understand that. It drives me fucking nuts.
Well, but, you know, just like the way that the war on drugs has created instant criminals, this law, the moment that it was implemented, the moment that it went into effect, hundreds of people became lawbreakers. And honestly, I can tell you that I didn't realize that there was the whole interact part. Like, you can't even speak into it. Like, what do you mean? I can't, like, swipe it unlocked and say, hey, Google, call mom, and have it come through my speakers, because when I was parked, I had it set up. Like, you know, the other thing is that you need to, like you were saying, the good drivers, they use their time while driving wisely. Like, okay, I'm at a part where I need to focus. I'm ignoring my phone. Okay? Traffic is getting a little heavy on the interstate. I need to ignore my phone. But late at night, when all of these cars that we have headlights brighter than the freaking sun, you can see everything for miles. You can probably cruise and check a text message, you know, or have a phone call. Like, be safe with what you're doing, because, you know, you need to realize that you're in control of the car.
Well, let me be devil's advocate here, okay? So, like, okay, the big thing is that texting and driving is distracted driving, because you're not paying attention. You could go in the other lane, go off the road, kill somebody. I get that. Well, I'm just being devil's advocate here. Does that mean it's okay to fucking get fucking shit-faced and drive down the road with being obviously impaired, maybe even impaired as much as fucking staring at your cell phone for, 45 seconds going down the road? Should that be okay?
If texting and driving is okay, shouldn't that be okay? That's what you're saying?
I'm just being devil's advocate here, you know? I mean, we're saying, don't fucking worry about it. I know my... You're saying I know my limits. I know I can look at my phone and drive down the road. Hey, don't bother me. I know my limits. I can drink and get drunk and drive down the road just fine. What's the problem here?
Right. I mean, because honestly, I will smoke and then drive, and that's against the law. Like, but they don't have a way to regulate that. But to answer your question, I would say that
that's a good point, man. I like that.
Neither one of them are good for driving. You know, I was in the military myself, and I went through military driving school, and like 93% of interaction on the road comes from your peripheral.
Did they let you have a cell phone?
So,
were you allowed to look at a cell phone while you were driving?
No. And cell phones were still bricks. They were the Nokia brick that had that. Oh my God, they light up.
Snake was a great game. Snake was a fucking. Everybody played Snake. Okay.
Snake was
Oh yeah, that was the rave on the Nokia block.
Remember people being like, "I filled up the whole screen." Yeah, dude. It's just you just go around in a fucking spiral over and over again. It's not like a hard concept.
Oh my God. I wish I had known that before.
Yeah, you just go in a spiral. Like, I mean, you don't have to do it the whole time, but once you start getting a lot, you're just, oh, fucking,
Yeah, you end up having to because yeah. Otherwise, you're eating your tail.
Spiral and zigzag. Leave a spot open at the top. Spiral and zigzag. Leave a spot open at the top. Start over.
Yeah. Pro tip. If you're ever on Nokia
that's
again,
a good point. I mean, the whole, like, well, you need to stop texting while driving. Well, screw you. I know I can watch YouTube videos and I won't hurt anyone. So what gives me the right then to say, oh, well, you're drinking and driving. You shouldn't be able to do that. Well, screw you. I know my limits. I can drink a fifth and drive home. I know I'm safe. Yeah, it does put me in a position where I feel like I'm being hypocritical based upon my position for the texting thing to tell the drunk driver that he can't drive.
And it's one thing I found specifically interesting about the law is that they did not say everybody. They said motherfuckers up to the age of 18. Obviously, someone under the age of 18, they don't know real life experiences, and they're not capable of making like rational and quick decisions in the moment.
But they can be tried as an adult.
Oh, depending on the crime and up to a certain age. And I'm not going to sit here and try and defend the penal system because and we've had a discussion on the podcast before, which maybe you'd like to chime into, which is do we want to keep talking about this? I don't want to move to a new
I'm
topic.
cool, man. I'm having fun. I mean,
okay.
Let's go where the conversation takes us.
Well, we've talked about this before. Where what do you do with the prison system? Because privatized prison systems aren't necessarily a good thing, and as libertarians, we're all about privatizing everything. But obviously, you don't want the government controlling that shit either. It's almost like there's an incentive to lock people up either fucking way, because the state's getting fucking free, cheap labor out of it, regardless. So how do you reform the prison systems? How do you make the prison systems work? How do you rationalize what's a crime and what someone should be locked up for, and necessarily for how long? And
So I definitely don't believe in the victimless crimes. So the first thing is not just the legalization of banks being able to do like what was recently implemented or bill being introduced, allowing banks to work with medical marijuana businesses. There was Michigan that they are releasing 800,000 marijuana cases because they're expunging those convictions because it's legal now, and so they're getting rid of those. And I would like to take that on a higher level, and just if that's the only thing that you have that is putting you there, then your time is served, you're done. And, you can get back to life. Instead of them being a part of society, they're just being taken care of by society. And we can't do that anymore. So the federal system, the federal prisons need to be cases that are federal, that happen in one or more states. So they're definitely in different strategic places. But it really needs to come down to individual accountability. Not necessarily focusing on such a police state like you were mentioning earlier. Like we don't want to have all this control bearing down on us, but we as individuals need to realize the way that we affect other people and how our decisions can change somebody else's life in an instant. That fender bender, I don't know what happened. I barely saw it. I don't know if he was distracted. I don't know if she was distracted and reacted and caused him to rear end her, so it's hard to say, but whatever decision that was made in that moment affected him, especially because he's probably still sitting there waiting for the tow truck to pick him up. He was there when I left anyway. That affected his own life, but was it her decisions at that moment, or was it his decision? So if we look at things in that perspective, we understand what is actually being done to us by our government, and that the laws that we have are just way too much. They're like, how are you going to advocate one business to operate one way and then, not advocate another way? Because I believe that the NRA, even though they are a membership base, they are still operating on a business sense and on a business platform. But then you have the larger corporations that are businesses, and smaller corporate or smaller businesses that are being forced to provide their services for things they don't believe in. And regardless of how you identify, a business should never be forced any more than an individual to operate in a manner that they don't believe in, that they don't believe in is right for their business, that they want to have in their atmosphere. Because, as somebody that likes to sing, I want to make sure that I'm in the right audience and that I'm singing the right music for that particular audience. It's the same way in the campaign with your targeted fundraising. But that's for a different tangent.
Free the people, free the markets. Decentralize now.
Another thing I wanted to talk about is the way these laws go through. It's not going to be done with a lot of noise. It's going to be done silently. They've passed red flag laws in the state that I live in, but it's not going to be done with a big show. It's going to be done quietly and subtly. It was a little splash, a little sprinkle. It wasn't a big thing. When they come to take your guns, I think a lot of people in the movement think it's going to be this obvious event. It's going to be a giant declaration of, troops going door to door, and that you're going to have time to respond, and then all the libertarians are going to band together, and we're going to do the second American. It's going to be very slow and subtle. They're not going to give you time to plan. They're not going to give you time to organize. It's going to be more, I believe, that our gun rights are going to be taken away from us. It's going to be more of a situation of the frog in the pot of water, and it's slowly going to rise up. One of the things that I'll do, and then I'll toss it over for more conversation. One of the things that they'll do is they'll find a bill that no reasonable person would vote against, like a bill regarding funding for nursing homes or something like that. And then they'll attach. Exactly, yeah.
That's what I was saying about the environmental shit. It's like, save the fucking rainforest. We're also going to steal your children.
Yeah, save the rainforest. Also, you signed your rights to be consensually eaten. That kind of thing. Like, you attach it to it, you don't read the fine print, and then all this other bullshit gets pushed through. And there are people, legislators, who are like, man, a bill comes to me, it's like 300 pages long. I can't fucking read this. I'm supposed to vote on this tomorrow. People are voting on bills they don't even fucking understand. The way we make laws is fucking
asinine.
It's asinine. Absolutely.
Well, it's
so.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. You're fine.
Oh, go ahead, man. All you.
I mean, I was just gonna say that that's kind of the control that needs to be released. I mean, the fact that we have so many laws, number one, and number two, the process of the things that the government does just needs to be diminished. It needs to be downsized. If we have, I'll go back to the other point that I was making. If we have our troops here instead of all over the world, then we don't need the Department of Homeland Security. Why did TSA become government regulated? You know, like why didn't that stay
Exactly.
privatized? You know,
Control.
It's almost
yeah.
creepy too. Like, I mean, they fucking X-ray you and shit when you go through. And I mean, not to be like super fucking conspiracy, but they're like, so Mr. Johnson has a fake knee. If we need to take him out, go for his right knee. Like,
Right.
you know?
I have not been through an airport since I went to basic training, or to my first duty station rather. Every other time I have traveled by land.
You know, I do want to say real quick about TSA. So I took a trip recently and I flew, and I was so fucking nervous, man. I was so nervous, and a lot of it was like the security aspect and shit. Like, I don't travel, I don't fly. It's not
Right.
that I'm opposed to it. I just, I'm poor and I don't have anywhere to go.
And you're thinking Alanis Morissette in your head. Anyway,
I've honestly never thought Alanis Morissette in my head.
No.
But no. So I take medicine. Nothing crazy. It's just to regulate blood pressure and shit. And I had a bottle of pills. Okay. So I knew when I go through security, this is in my backpack. They're going to see the bottle of pills. They're going to want to see the bottle of pills. Okay. Well, I was extremely nervous, and friend of a friend of a friend has Klonopin, which is similar. I think it was Klonopin. No, was it Xanax? Maybe it was Xanax. I don't know. I'm not. Anyway, I said, okay, well, take one of these.
You're not current on the different pills.
It's not something I take. I'm not a pill guy. Like, I'm like a shroom and mushroom guy. So like, pills aren't my thing. But I was scared to death. Dude. I was like fucking really scared to fly. So like, they're like, here's Xanax. Take these. Put them in with your pills, because they're both round. They look pretty similar. Enough you could tell them apart if you really looked, but they were just both regular old white pills. So take one when you get to the airport. Take a half when you get on the plane, and you'll be fine. And I was like, I'm not taking these with me. Are you crazy? Like, that's so retarded. This is a bottle of pills. I'm traveling with drugs. It's medicine. It's prescribed to me, but I'm traveling with drugs. They're gonna want to see this bottle of fucking pills. Not one time, the whole time, did anyone give a fuck. Just like right there, they went through the scanner. Yep, there's a thing of pills in there. Okay, go on through. Have a nice day. Have a good trip. Enjoy the plane ride. Like, that shit blew my mind. I was like, dude, it'd be so easy to get shit through here. You know what I mean? Like, well, and it was such a joke.
That's because of the HIPAA laws that we have. They can't necessarily look into, the prescription. They can't be the ones to decide, oh, this isn't a prescription that we allow in the States. You know what I mean? Like, and that's somebody's individual healthcare need. We don't know, like you're saying, it's so similar that even if they were to look at it, they may not be able to tell the difference and let you go anyway. So it's like, well, what were you looking for? Why did you need to even look at it? Are you a cop? Am I suspected of anything? Like, that falls under unlawful search and seizure. And the HIPAA touches on the HIPAA law.
I think in terms of you talk about search and seizure and going back to guns, like when they come to take your guns, there's this, they're not going to knock on the door. You know what I mean? They're not going to make you aware of it. They're not going to put you in a position where you can defend yourself. So I don't.
Even though they're coming at us rather quickly with all of these, like, I feel I'm just gonna say it, the staged mass shootings that we're having.
Staged, thank you.
Yep.
That they are trying to bum rush us with this need to control the gun.
Yeah.
And
done this so many times before.
Right.
You're currently listening to the best podcast in the whole fucking universe.
Decentralize Now.
Can I get your reaction to the Greta Thunberg rant? Do you mind if I play that for you guys? Have you actually heard the Greta Thunberg rant?
No, I haven't. So this will be a first time
Alright.
actually hearing it. I'm game. I'm gonna light a cigarette while I listen to this chick.
Sure. Okay. Hey,
Maybe that's a little ironic, but anyway.
hey, Busted. I'm actually going to send it to you if you wouldn't mind playing it for us.
While you're kind of working that out, I was
Yeah.
just gonna make another point on these new laws that she's probably gonna go off from because, like I said, I've seen some details. But the whole climate change thing. Can we look at science and look at the geography of things that we know or that we understand and that are being monitored that show how the tectonic plates are moving, how the continents are moving, and yes, there's a level of human existence that may have expedited the process, but would this process have happened without us?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the Earth is cyclical.
Of course it would.
So let me know if you guys can hear this. I'm going to play her little rant here.
This is all wrong. I should be up here.
Hold on, wait, stop it.
Look.
I can hear it. If you could turn it up a little bit, that'd be great. But it's just like I hadn't heard it either, so I didn't know that was like her little bitch voice. So like,
why the fuck is this little kid up here? Like when I was 13 years old, I didn't know shit, and I get it. She's from Sweden, maybe they've got great education, but I don't think this little girl knows what the fuck she's talking about. I'm just going off a hunch.
Okay. All right, let's start that over.
If only we hadn't started driving cars, the dinosaurs would still be here.
She starts it off by saying, like, I shouldn't be here. I think, well, who fucking invited you? Why? Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't be here. I guess, like, I'm agreeing
Get
with you
off
already.
stage.
My parents drank while they were pregnant with me. I shouldn't be here.
I shouldn't be up here.
Play it.
Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction. And all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
It's like, what the fuck?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Ended with the fucking speech from Billy Madison.
What you said was the dumbest thing
I've ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. And may God have mercy on your soul.
What
Oh my God.
a presumptuous little punk. Well, I'm glad that she's, upset about things, but to talk about, all you talk about is money. Money's kind of fucking important. Like if you go without money for a long time, shit gets difficult. Like it's good to have your money right. So, we should talk about money. That's something we should kind of figure it out.
I don't have money, but I have a nice tent.
Money used to come from shells, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
So it was just a way to measure value. That's all it is. I could trade, if the government wasn't involved, I could trade a service that I do for a service that another person provides on an individual basis. I have a plumber friend that, I can do many things. He needs something built, or he needs his house cleaned, or, I don't know. There's something else that I could do that would equal the value. Then that's just like using coins or bills. There's like the intrinsic value is between consenting parties.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And her statement, "You have stolen my dreams with my childhood with your empty words." It's
She just stole
fucking,
15 seconds of my fucking life with her empty words.
you know who stole my dreams? The federal government. People who tax me. And this kind of shit is like, there's no end game. We can't stop the weather. You know what I mean? That, like,
Exactly.
there's nothing to do about it. The Earth is in a cyclical pattern. This shit happens. This is just another grab for state power, and they always use kids. There's some memes out there that
always for the kids.
They do. You use the children because when you look at a child, it's biological. You want to protect and defend your child. You know what I mean? So when you see a child, that's what you naturally react. That's what the whole David Hogg thing was. That's what the whole school walkouts are. I'm fucking sick of these school walkouts. I mean, there's no way you can look at the school walkouts and not come to the conclusion that the institution of public education is designed to push an agenda. The schools are giving them, they're telling, hey, if you want to protest this socially acceptable position or whatever, we'll give you the day off and you can join your friends, the teachers, or you can sit in class and do homework. You know what I mean? They're giving an incentive for people to participate in a political movement. And the whole concept of public education is that it's supposed to be non-biased, and you're just giving people education and they can come to their own opinions. But the public education system is explicitly sponsoring to impressionable kids a particular ideology, and it's not one of freedom and hope. I'll tell you that.
Well, you got these...
Instead of taking what the adults are doing and what the adults are discussing and explaining it and breaking it down to them in the classroom setting and just kind of educating them in that manner, then they're receiving a healthy education for the current events that are going on around them, not necessarily participating, because I do not believe that children should be anywhere near any of us, because adults can be fucking crazy, and you never know what's going to happen at any type of protest, and children just shouldn't be there. So if we're going to have a public education system, then yes, it needs to be unbiased. It needs to be speaking or educating, our history, so that we can stop repeating it, because I feel like we're on the verge of repeating our own country's history, not necessarily the world history, but our own country's history. And if it's not being educated properly, it's being driven by an agenda. I definitely agree with that.
Buster, were you going to say something?
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at who the fucking teachers are teaching these fucking kids, man. Jesus. I mean, you still got the fucking teachers and stuff there that have probably been there for 25, 30 years, whatever. You got the old timers and shit. But a lot of these fucking teachers are probably around our fucking age, a little bit younger, fresh out of fucking college. It's their first fucking job, maybe a second fucking job. And they've still got all that fucking bullshit socialist mentality fucking crap they learned in fucking college
because of
they
how
have
they
an opinion of their fucking own, and then they fucking push it, and then they had a fucking professor push it on them, so they themselves go into a fucking classroom and 2 + 2 is 4, but Trump is an evil piece of fucking shit.
There's this chick.
That's a great way to start a segment.
What?
So this chick. I was
Evret Falarka or whatever. She was a member of Antifa, or not a member. You don't join it because they're not competent enough to create a membership organization. But she affiliated with Antifa.
Get hired.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently was beating people up at a rally, and it turns out she was a middle school teacher. In middle school, I don't want to send my kids to a middle school where they're being taught by Antifa. And I've seen it even in the area where I live. I used to work for a company, and one of my clients was we have what's called regional school units in this area, so collections of schools. And I had a particular regional school unit that was my client. and I went into one of the locations, one of the schools was a high school, and it was this Orwellian moment. I mean, I haven't been to a high school in a long time, and I go in, and it's like the building is just these lifeless cement blocks still, like a prison. You know what I mean? Like it's not an attractive building.
They're hardcore now.
Oh God! And then it's like ding ding, and Jedi was talking about this. The bell goes off, and then all these kids, with these somber expressions, start walking in lines to their next class.
Give my books, get the next class. Now it's time to be at the next class. Oops, time to get to the next class. Oop, day is done. Or rather,
repeat.
Oop, time to go eat lunch. Oop, time to go back to class. Oop, time to do this. Oop, time to go home. Yeah, I mean, they really train you to fucking just be that fucking. Like, I mean, that's
robot.
There's movies where they do that. Like, they ring a bell and, like, someone goes into, like, killer assassin mode. I mean.
Jesus. And I'm there in this literal prison. There's a little poster on the wall for the Social Justice Club. And so.
For the what?
It was a Social Justice Club. Social Justice Club. So in school, you can join the Social Justice Club, and that's supposed to be this great thing. This is a breeding ground for state ideology. This is the ideology that the state wants you to believe in because it gives them more power, it gives them more control, and they want you to bring your kids there so your kids can learn the state-approved ideology. And if they deviate from that, they're going to get picked on, they're going to be made fun of, they're going to be told they're stupid. It's a terrifying thing. And I want to pass over the mic, but I want to make this last comparison between a public school and a prison. A prison is a government-funded building with a bunch of bricks, and it's soulless and it's lifeless, and there's loudspeakers that tell you what to do and where to go all the time. And yeah, you can read some books, and then maybe for an hour a day, you can go outside and kick a ball around. But really, it's just for people to control you and try to control your behavior. And there are hall monitors and there are hall guards that'll get you in trouble if you're outside of your designated area. And
Are you talking about schools now?
I'm talking, yes, like that's exactly what a school is. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It is a prison. It's compulsory for most kids. Most kids don't want to be there, and they have to. There's a problem with contraband. The teachers are like the guard. It's a prison for children. That's what a public school is.
And you know that there's a bus aid on every bus. So there's an additional adult on the bus that handles the children when they get rambunctious and stuff like that.
So much learning just occurs by doing shit. Just go do shit. So, Evret, what are some of the major tenets that you're running on? What are some of the major parts of your platform? What is your platform? What do you want to see changed?
So my biggest thing is correcting the American vision, and starting off with all of your freedoms all the time. That is something I do believe in, and I was recently a part of a very small part, but a successful part in getting signatures to put the vote in front of the people for their individual medical needs, and specifically for immunization. So by looking at every aspect of what is going on, there's a way that government is involved and needs to be removed. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I am seeing, that if we remove it, prosperity can happen. And refocusing the funds to proportionate matters and not giving out grants for ridiculous studies. Those are going to be the focal points. More specifically on the individual right. The way you live your life is how you see fit, and as long as it doesn't infringe on somebody else's right to enjoy their life by taking what they have worked hard for or what has been given to them by somebody, like everything that is around me is mine. So don't take it from me because it's been given, or I earned it, or I worked for it some way and somehow. That is going to be like the only basis of law that really needs to be started from, because we need to dwindle down the government control and the government involvement and impediment.
Just curious, before we go, what brought you and your campaign manager together?
Flagging, actually. I was in Winthrop and he was new to the site, and so I just started talking to him. And he mentioned that he was a part of Paul Brown's campaign, and I was like, oh, and just started talking about it, and everything else is history. But it, we just got to the point where I started telling him what my vision was, and he's like, I can see that happening. I can see that happening. That might be a little tweaked, you know. So he has some insight into what is going on, and he does have some campaign um, experience. So we're a new dynamic. It's obviously I'm 34, he's 21. Great guy, and he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. It was kind of one of them things. I needed a new campaign manager, and he was my first thought after what we discussed.
Is there a specific policy that kind of turned him on to what you were saying?
I had to think about that for a moment, because the way that I talk about politics is that everything is connected. You can't just talk about one thing and not talk about the other things that are happening.
I agree, but you have to come to some sort of conclusion, or I can't think of the fucking word.
If I remember
compromise.
correctly, if I remember correctly, it was about the prison system and about that reform of how I wanted to clean up the prison system, and that got in. I brought that into taxes and how the states are in control of certain things, because I feel like the states need to be in more control than what they are, because that just puts more of a microscope on the individual and their involvement in what is going on around them. But
I'm glad we talked about that a little bit tonight. Then that's great that came up.
Yes, I was happy to talk about it. I'm happy to talk about any of it. Like I said earlier, I'm an open book. I can be raw, given if I hear something for the first time, you're definitely going to hear the not so professional side of me.
I'm just making conversation. Do you feel that kind of unprofessional side of maybe Trump, the fact that he's willing to kind of speak his mind and say anything? Do you think that's why he's winning right now? How would somebody like you compare against Trump if you got up and had a chance to debate him somehow?
Well, that is definitely a long-term perspective to look at, and I haven't fully looked at that spectrum. However, I will say, when given the opportunity, I will treat him as if he is another person, and it will be a discussion, respectful discussion about just what he wouldn't have anything to go off as far as what I've done, but I would be able to use what he's done as ammo and just talk about how I would have approached it. I'm never going to be the type of person that can go up against his reputation and his money background, but he still bleeds red. He still has blue blood running through his veins, just like I do. So he's still a person, and he deserves a level of respect. I just don't know how I really would react in that moment. I'd probably be really, really jittery and really, really freaking nervous. Like, I'm standing next to Trump right now. I'm getting ready to tell him that I don't agree with him. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's probably going to be the real me.
Well, Evret Greer, you're running for president. You're trying to seek the Libertarian Party nomination. If people heard this, they like what they've heard, they want to reach out to you and try to help for your campaign, how can they get a hold of you?
My email is americanvision2020@gmail.com. I do have a website, americanvision2020.wordpress.com. They can reach me via the Facebook page that is also on the website, but it's my libertarian page for the betterment of the USA, because that's what this vision is going to end up doing, is bettering our lives, because we're going to feel freer to do what we want to do when we want to do it, with whom we want to do it, without asking permission and without fear of offending somebody. So I'm not ready to give out my cell phone number, but those are definitely going to be the places to get a hold of me. And if you wanted to volunteer, let me know what capacity you want to participate in as far as the campaign is concerned, because we are always looking for added talent. I have my campaign manager that is practicing political science, or he's studying political science at UMF, 21 years old, and he's excited to be a part of it. So we're looking for volunteers. We're also looking for donations. The website has a way to donate. So, yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for just hanging out. I mean, it's just, a little bit more of an unstructured episode where we just kind of shot the shit, but, we definitely wanted to thank you for your time, and thanks for what you're doing, and hopefully maybe you can come back on the podcast again sometime.